Hey everybody, welcome to Mindset Monday. A little bonus, because I reckon we need a little bit of connection. I am going to be running a Freaky Friday session from now on, a big Zoom call for anybody who's in the hub who wants to connect and wants to have an actual live conversation. So that'll be in Zoom on Freaky Friday. But for now, I'm doing free trainings on Mindset Monday and on Training Thursday. And also, we're going to have a group call on Freaky Fridays. So I just wanted to connect with everybody and share with you 7 tips that I have used in every major change in my business and what I've actually done this past week as well. Because none of the information that's coming out is A, going to give every single person clarity. B, it's not going to be relevant for every single person. And C, it's going to leave a space of judgment and self-responsibility about the choices that you make in your life. And I know that everything that I am going to contribute won't help everybody either. But I'm just going to do my best with what I know works for me, has worked for other mentees in the past, and has worked for many of my friends as well. And we're having these conversations in the background, so I thought may as well have them in the foreground. All right, so I'm going to do my best to give you as much information on Mindset Monday, on Training Thursday, and connect on Freaky Friday so that we aren't alone in the ever-changing world that we're living in. Now, when you think about the biggest changes that you have ever made in your life, what's one that stands out for you? There's quite a few people listening. How about you pop in the section below, in the comment section, what was one of the biggest changes that you've had to go through in your life? Tess, hey, how's it going? Selena, I know that you've been through some massive changes in your life, whether it's your own health, the health of your kids. Tess, you've gone from different work situations to owning your own business to actually creating different programs online, and you have kids as well. And for me, seeing as nobody's putting anything in the comments, one of my biggest ones is actually bringing a baby into the world. And I know, again, this isn't for everybody, but it was one of the biggest changes I had to make way for in my business and my life. And it was a huge difference to have to start to look at the world in a really different way as to how the change would fit in my life and how I could I had control over the choices I was making, that my lifestyle would fit the change as well. Christina's big one was being homeless was being a big change. Absolutely, Christina. The things that you have to employ and bring in, and the resources internally and externally, and the frameworks and the structures to enable that to happen is huge. That's massive. And many of you guys have gone through even bigger changes, whether it's your health, divorce, death, dying, depression, so many changes in your life, and you lived through each of them. And the thing is, you guys are going to live through this as well. We're all in this for the long game. Just the same as having a baby is the long game. Just the same as owning a house is the long game. And Tess is just saying their house burnt down, which was a huge change. Childbirth interrupted. My master's degree, which is a big change as well, right? And there's so many changes that we all have. And this is just another series of changes that's coming through, albeit very different to any that we've ever experienced before. But these are really interesting times to bring in all the resources that you've used in the past to get through the changes you've had to go through and see how you can use them now moving forward. I'm going to just share 7 of them, and I'd really love your input on this. Rebecca, oh my goodness, she's just joined us, and Rebecca's had some major life changes over the years, losing her house and a clinic to a tornado, having to move in a state and completely reshuffling her whole business from the ground up. Oh, my goodness, we've all gone through massive shifts and changes before, and we can all do it again. We're in it for the long game, and I want to share what's worked for me, and I'd love to have the conversation and see what has worked for others. All right, so number 1 is pivot. Pivot to whatever you can do. Now, this is the thing about the most recent things that have come out as of today. This is the 23rd of March. The most recent guidelines that have come out either on a state level or on a Commonwealth level here in Australia is that if we can pivot, we need to pivot, is what everything's saying. Be it Victoria or New South Wales in particular have been quite verbal about it this morning on their news coverage, and the premiers doing their press conference. It's about if you can work from home, if you can do home delivery, if you can do online consultations, please do it. So for me, when I had to pivot, when again, I'm going to take it back to what I can speak to. I can't speak to losing my house because of a tornado or it burnt down or going homeless or so many other things that so many of you have done, but apply this same situation to you. So when I had to baby-proof my business, I had to see what I could do online and see what could get me reoccurring income so that there wasn't the feast and famine of, oh, there's plenty of people coming in and the next week no one comes in. And there's plenty of people coming in and the next week no one comes in. Or the flow-on effects that are currently happening either through health or wealth where there's a drop in numbers. So I had to create an online program. Then I had to create a membership. Christina has created an amazing membership as well. Creating packages to keep people going on their health journey because everybody is feeling some level of stress or anxiety. I was having a conniption yesterday afternoon. Now, I'm lucky enough to have lots of support around me. My husband, he was having a conniption in the middle of last week, and we both were able to bounce off one another to get through. We're also able to use some of the resources that we have inside of us with being able to attach to movement in the house and meditation and all of these other tools that we have a responsibility to own for ourselves, so a self-responsibility. Instead of reacting to everything and noticing when we are reacting to be able to see what we can control about it and not what we can't. So, what is it that you can control about pivoting? What could you create and what could you provide as a service that is online? And if you haven't taken telehealth seriously, now's the time. If you haven't finished off that e-course that you've got half done, now's the time. If you haven't made the most of the PowerPoint presentations or the workshops you've run in person and put them out as webinars, now's the time. There's lots of opportunities to actually pivot and put your things online. Now, when I was worried about having to only run my business from one hand, the second thing I did was I tried to make my business work from my phone because breastfeeding a bub is hard. And when you've got one arm behind your back and you're worried about financials and kids in the house and your responsibilities when it comes to rent and other bits and pieces, when literally and figuratively, when you are one-handed, what can you do with this other hand that keeps your business going? So if you can move anything, any part of your business into an easy way of accessing it online, now's the time to do that. Then the third thing is to make sure that you are stopping any payments that are non-essential. Now, so many of us, me included, literally yesterday, I got onto Bluehost, my hosting, and I cancelled every single one of the recurring payments for URLs that I thought that I would use one day that I, had. And then there's other programs online that I've been paying for recurrently and I haven't used them. There's also other things that I can put a pause on that I haven't used. And there's things that I can make sure are looked after to make sure that I'm continuing to keep my staff on, because that's one of my primary things, is to make sure that my team can remain on. So anything else that's non-essential to that needs to be dealt with. So whatever you've got that's non-essential, that you get your statement and you're like, that thing, I forgot to cancel that thing again. Go and find out if you can either pause it or if you can cancel it. If you were going to cancel it anyway, it's time to cancel it. Again, I used the same thing when I was baby-proofing my business. I used the same thing when I was transferring from one type of business to another type of business. I've used it in a whole range of different situations where things had to change and it was time to make the changes that I had been putting off. Number 4 is keep as many staff on as possible. We have to keep the economy going. And by making sure that other people are in work, that's keeping the economy going. And so I'm doing absolutely everything I can personally in my personal finances to keep my business finances going. So if you're in it for the long game, then this small dip that's going to happen is going to have to be able to be managed however you possibly can. And I am absolutely committed to keeping my team on. I freaking love them. And I need to be able to make sure that they are confident in what they have as their work. And I'm confident in continuing my work. So it's the same when I was running Inspirational Health, and I had some really tough times. We had floods coming through, major storms that came through the roof and decimated one of our storage rooms that had all our files in it. I had to pivot and go everything online at that time. I had, insurance claims that didn't come through on time. I had to make sure all these other things, the electricity was coming through the roof socket. And at that time, even though my expenditure had to go out for a period, I had to make sure all my staff and everybody on my team knew that they were as safe as they could be in their jobs, and I was doing absolutely everything to keep them going. So whoever's on your team, make sure they are continuing to be part of your team. They know, they're aware, and do everything that you can to keep that going. Number 5, take action on what you are entitled to. Now, this is the thing. There's lots of hearsay about where money's coming from and when it's coming out and who it's coming to and all that kind of stuff. We are natural health practitioners. We are amazing and resourceful, and we can research the most incredible, most intricate, detailed things about human body. We can be resourceful and research where the root cause of your entitlement around support, your entitlement around government assistance, your entitlement around your banking, whatever is out there, and there's hearsay about it, just the same as there's sometimes hearsay about different remedies, the same thing applies. Use your skills, your strengths, your talents to research, find out the root cause of where that information's from, and go and do and take the action that's required to get that support and to receive that support so that you don't have to do it later on. That means hopping onto Centrelink. That means hopping onto Job Seeker if your wages have been affected. That means not making up in your head that because I'm working and my husband is, or whatever is happening, not making it up in your head the same way as we tell our clients not to make it up or use Dr. Google. Try to find out and go and take the action required to see whether or not you truly are, in fact, able to get support in this time. Same thing goes when I was having my baby. I had to find out where was I which leave entitlement was I able to get? Paternal, fraternal, was I able to get maternal leave, maternity leave? Was I able to access, at the time we had like a baby bonus coming out and it was coming to its end. And I can make up all the speculations in my head, but until you take the action to actually go and find out what it is, you don't know for certain. So I'm imploring you, if you are in a situation where it is a little bit more dire, take the action that's required to find out the facts about what you're entitled to and go in and receive that money, because you're doing what it takes to keep you going. So in the long run, you as a practitioner is still going to be benefiting the community. Next one, do a plan B with your bank. Now, this is the thing about going in with a baby. Holy dolly, like that's signing up for a massive long game, right? And when you first have your baby, for me, it was like, okay, I want 6 months off. At the moment, we've got a bit of a chat around whether the government or the chief medical officer believes how long this might go. And it's kind of the same. We're not quite sure if you are going to go back after 12 weeks after you have a bubba, or you might not go back at all. You might keep them home, homeschool them, do all the other things. So there's this bit in the middle where you have to have a plan B. And if you are fortunate and in a wonderful situation that you can talk to a bank about either your your loans, your mortgage, you have a business loan, you have a credit card, any of those background hidden things, go and talk to them about what your possibilities are for accessing funds. I am not a financial planner. I am not somebody who is an expert at all in this situation, but just the same as when I was having a baby and we wanted to do some different things in the house to make sure everyone was safe and secure, we went and spoke to the bank to find out what we could actually do about it. With the current and very quickly changing climate that we have, Australian federal level is trying to release all of the red tape for people who already have loans to access more of the money that's in their loans. Again, I know that this isn't the solution for everybody, but it might be the solution for you, and that's why I want to have the conversation. So whatever your plan B might have to be, you know, we were talking this morning, a couple of friends and I were talking about maybe your plan B is to sell that piece of equipment that's in the shed that has been there for a long time that nobody's used. Maybe it's, but whatever it is, find out if you have a plan B, because there's a level of security that comes with the possibility that there could be more money available to you at any point in time. And that's what it felt like for me when I was having a bub. We wanted to know, to make sure that if anything went south, then we would have a little bit of plan B there. And number 7, find your tribe and connect with them regularly. Just like a mother's group, just like a breastfeeding or hypnobirthing group, try to find who you vibe with and start to regularly connect. And just like a mother's group, try and do it every week. I'm opening up Freaky Friday for exactly that. Freaky Friday, midday Freaky Friday. We here in the Naturpreneur Hub, I'm going to be live streaming a Zoom call at the same time as you can watch it while you live stream, or you can hop on to the Zoom call and we can actually have a chat and communicate. It's literally a cup of tea, and whatever is coming up is coming up. That's it. So I'll catch up with all of these. So they're my 7 things that I've done in the past to help me get through, and I'd love to hear what your 7 things that you've done in the past to prepare you for change or has got you through change in a fairly different time than you've ever had before within your business or your life. Tess, exactly. Deb, you've been preparing us for all for this for the past 3 years to weather this storm, Tammy. Thanks, Tess. So Tess and a couple of other people in here are from the Naturpreneur Journey, and we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. It's a really big mindset shift to be able to get prepared for something that you are going to play the long game for, and you're going to ride out the roller coaster. And right now, that roller coaster is that feeling when you have no idea what's around the corner, and they've put you up on this thing, and they're literally not telling you anything about what's going to happen on the other side, and everybody is kind of screaming. And you know how they've got the camera on the other side as you go down, and everyone's like, you want to be the one that is breathing and going, yep, this is a roller coaster. This is what I'm expecting on a roller coaster. And it won't be like this forever, and it'll flatten out and it'll calm back down again. So I get it. And hopefully that's helpful. Moira, so thankful for what I have in place already. Yes. And if you don't have anything in place, do it now. Now I'm on to the next phase. I'm feeling anxious today, something I haven't experienced in over 10 years. It's huge. I hear you so bad. Like, oh my goodness. And this is the thing. I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you. Yesterday afternoon, I was like, give me the Inflamed, give me the Anxietone, give me the why isn't there any in the house? That's it. I'm down in all the kava that I brought back from Fiji with some cacao, and I'm meditating and I'm doing all of the things. And whatever resources you have right now and whatever support you have, particularly in your house with the people in your house, find them, hug them, be with them, and notice when the anxiety comes up, and notice it'll go away as well. I totally hear you. And another reason I really want to connect with everybody on Freaky Friday, because we're all feeling it, and it comes in waves, and then it goes again, and we're like, yes, I have something to feel control over. I can do this. And then it's like, the whole world. And we're doing all the roller coaster stuff again. So I get that. Christina, the question I keep coming back to is, what if this is for you? What would you do? How would you change what you're doing and your focus? Gold, Christina. What if this is actually for you? It's not happening to you. What if this was actually happening for you? What would it be looking like? And we heard from Beck yesterday, which was extraordinary. Beck McInnes has pivoted so much with her and her multimodality clinic. And it is incredible. She's been meaning to put e-courses online. She's been meaning to get her staff up and running with their skills and gifts and talents in neonates and post-birth, and they're osteopaths and naturopaths, and they're working together in a way that they never have before. And so imagine if this is actually happening for you and you are here creating the pivots that it's just been in the background that you haven't had the pivots to make. Totally hear you. Maurice, so true. Much of my business is done on my phone. Tessa, I literally had to adjust to only using my left arm for 10 months. Oh, and when you had a cancer scare, gosh, I can definitely get through this. Yeah, you guys have all been through some, oh my goodness, the most extraordinary things in the past. You can get through this as well. Deb, always do what you can do, never what you can't. Yeah. Jeb, should we drop our consult fees? No, is my suggestion. The value of what you do doesn't go down. The value of what you do doesn't go down. You are still providing value. My suggestion is providing options. So don't drop your consult fees. Provide online options and provide acute consultation options is my suggestion. There are a plethora of other suggestions, but from my experience with mentees is if you can provide short, sharp, snappy online consultations for a smaller fee, then you're going to still continue to get cash flow through the door. And the more, keeping duty of care in mind, if they need a full initial consultation, it's the same price as it's always been, but provide an option that's smaller chunks. And it's one of the reasons I suggest packages and programs is because it's a long journey. We're all in this for the long game. These people are going to need your health help throughout this isolation period and whatever else is happening. And it's a journey. You want to be partnering with them along the journey. And if you're partnering with them, then a regular payment, just like they've doubled their job seeker or they've doubled wherever they're getting their money from, a regular portion of their payment that is on their health and their well-being is going to be so much more beneficial than if they have to rock up and pay you a big chunk. So my suggestion is provide options and particularly provide programs or ways to connect. Providing a paid membership group right now, it's the time, overcomes isolation, overcomes the, cutting through the rubbish that's going on when it comes to what doesn't help. Provides a safe space for people to talk. It provides an opportunity for people that they wouldn't have had it had not created this situation. And it's of value, so you have to get paid for it. Hopefully that's helpful, Deb. Cassandra, remember to check your Google AdWords and cease ads. Yes. If you've got Google ads, if you've got Facebook ads, cease the ads that you don't need, change the ones that you do to represent how your business is now online. Oh my goodness. Cassandra, you are on fire this week. You totally pivoted as well. It's beautiful to see. I can't wait to see your courses for all the things that you're creating come out. Christina, yes, knowledge is power. You can make a choice. You can choose when you know you can't. I agree. Cassandra also says, with all this going on, don't forget your BAS. Oh my goodness. If you are currently paying BAS, and again, I know this is general. I can't help every single person. You're all going to be really specific and beautifully unique. But if you can focus on the things that you can do, and you do pay BAS, now is the time to pay your BAS, because you will get a refund for the outlays that many of you are doing because there isn't as much cash coming in. So you'll actually get money back And if you register the BAS, that's the time when it flicks on that information when it comes to tax purposes and other bits and pieces that have just come out in these $66 billion stimulus packages. So don't forget your BAS. You've got this extra time to go and fill out all of the spreadsheets or your Xero or whatever it happens to be. Go and do that and make sure that's on time. I agree. Katie, take stock of all our payments that are going out. I always find magazine subscriptions. Yes. And extra payments. It's a really great opportunity to declutter. Great reframe there. I like that. Also, a great time to get a lot of spring cleaning done. Where you have clear energy, more things are going to come through for you, more opportunities and other things. I totally hear that, Deb. Katie, I still love that service the hell out of them quote. I agree. We can be of so much service, and the more service that you can provide, the more value you can provide, the more value comes back to you. I really think it's a major time for the rule of reciprocity to really kick in, because we're all in it together. Rebecca asks, I missed the first bit, but should we move online regardless of government rules as they stand? So I have been doing as much research as I can, and I know many of you don't have the opportunity to do that. So I've been trying to keep abreast of it so that I can distill it as much as I can, and I can stick with the facts, just the same as we do as naturopaths or nutritionists or herbalists. But we get to the root cause. We find the root solution or where that piece of information originally came from, and then get the fact of why it can or can't be used as a remedy in this situation. You can do exactly the same with what's coming out with the government and what's coming out with money and blah, blah. You have the skills to do this. So I've been looking at where this root information is coming from on the government websites, on your state websites, and I suggest you do the same. If it's going to impact you, it's going to be really valuable for you to know the stuff that's coming out. But what I found is where possible, and it was really clear in the Premier from Victoria. I can't remember his name right now. He did a press conference this morning, and what he made really, really clear, and what we know as health practitioners, and I know from my background in pathology, viruses are virulent. If we can work from home, we should work from home. Where we can work online, we need to work online. Otherwise, we are part of the... Have you seen that new graph that came out? Beautiful, very easy infographic. If you are exposing yourself currently to the public, unbeknownst to you, and not by any intention of yours, and not by any intention of your client per se, we could be spreading the virus. And because of that risk, the more of us that do stay at home if we can, do go online if we can, the earlier we can, the more we're likely to flatten the curve and the less people will die. And it's not really about business in the end, it's about death, which is a pretty big deal. And you can mess around with the numbers and you can say it's this or it's that, but people are dying from this. And if you have the chance to pivot, you need to pivot. I didn't have the opportunity to do that back in pathology. There's no way I could have worked from home. I had a job, I had to be at the place that had the most amount of people and the most risk, and I couldn't do anything about it. I had to be there on shift, I had to turn up, I had to do all those things. But now, and as a practitioner, I had the opportunity to pivot, and I know it's hard. Running inspirational health and a multimodality clinic, it's so hard to even contemplate all of the changes that are going on, but we need to for the health of ourselves, the health of our loved ones, and the health of people that we don't even know, that we probably would help in some capacity at some stage, but are going to be affected by this virus. So in answer to your question, Rebecca, should we move online regardless of the government rules as they stand? My opinion, and I know many others will have a different opinion, my opinion as a natural health practitioner who has the duty of care of the entire population in my mind says if I can do whatever I can do to minimize my exposure to the public and continue to help people, then I would do that. And for me, that looks like going online. I know I'm not ever happy with that, but I'm just gonna tell you what I can. Janelle says, I'm totally painting the outside of my house and it's making me feel so much better. Oh, there are so many huge, so for me, there's some amazing musicians online at the moment that I haven't seen in years. Like I saw their live events and things like that, and they're running these whole hour-long things, and it's keeping me completely off socials. I'm dancing in my lounge room. I'm creating all these lovely spaces around everywhere, and it is magic. So find the things that are bringing you magic and enchantment, and be it the simplest of tasks to create your beautiful spaces outside or your beautiful spaces inside. But whatever it is that makes you feel good, do that. Do more of that. I love that, Janelle. Awesome. Okay, Katie says, I agree. We'll be buying a cuppa from my local cafe today too. Yes, I also, remaining social distance, but making sure that our dog still gets a walk. We went in for the takeaway at our local cafe down the road, who don't do the cafe bit anymore. They're just doing takeaway coffees. So we were able to be in and out. And yeah. All right, I hope this has been helpful. I know it's not perfect, and I know it's not the answer for everybody, but I am absolutely doing my best to be here for you guys, to give you whatever I found helpful in the past, whatever my mentees have found helpful, answer as many questions as I can, as imperfectly perfect as I can. And I really hope that you guys are keeping yourselves safe, keeping your loved ones close. And I'll be here for this training on Mindset Monday. I'll be here for training on Training Thursday. And I'll also be holding a Zoom call where we can actually interact, not just read the little comments. And that'll be out for Freaky Friday every single week. You can connect. All right. Stay safe, peeps. Stay happy and healthy. And I'll catch you later. Bye.